We're watching Ronnie Stanley versus Buffalo. Watch his effort here on this cut off backside block. First thing he does is work to this gap to make sure nobody sticks or no one blitzes that gap. Then his job is to cut 55 off from the play. Watch the effort. Not good effort. Certainly does not stay on his man here at all. And that's something you would expect any offensive lineman to do. Note that versus Cleveland, he was on fire against Myles Garrett. He's stuck on his blocks. He drove Myles downfield or toward the sideline. If there's any kind of cutback or the back gets mucked up in the backfield here and decides to bend it back, it's not just about this guy chasing him all the way down. Note everybody else is working, staying on their blocks. This play is a perfect example of why you need to cut this end off backside. The quarterback's going to get gummed up in the backfield here, and just a really, really poor effort to cut that defender off backside enables that defender to come around and trip Lamar up. Not just any running back. He comes up and gets Lamar by the heels when Lamar's got blocks downfield and room to run. Tight game on the road. And there's no excuse for this block or lack of effort on this backside block. You've got the rest of the line spilling their guts here to move bodies. And you've just got to seal this guy backside. Again, we saw him versus Cleveland working his tail off to do that versus Myles Garrett. It's got to be every single game. Got to be every single game. Lamar's otherworldly here in this juke. Nick gets beat off the ball. But watch his effort. Watch him turn, read Lamar, and make a block. And you just don't want to see that happen. If that's your job and you are the highest paid tackle in the game, this is actually pretty special. Watch Ronnie in pass protection here. When I say special, I mean it's very rare, very peculiar, very unusual to see a tackle this athletic, this technically sound. Gets beat inside. Oh, just great hands. Watch him fight with that outside arm to get hand position. Watch him wrap the inside shoulder of the edge defender. It's just all around impressive, just exceptional athleticism laterally here. Just all the while working his hands. But that really shows how strong he is here in his upper body and how athletic he is to hold this guy up as he cross steps his way in front of him. Watch the end, try to peel away from him right there. And there's those vice grips, and there's that nasty kind of finish. Initially, he's beat, but the recovery there is just tremendous. Just like I said, that's peculiar. That is peculiar. You do not see a lot of that athleticism from the tackle position. Mix that with just the technique it takes there. That's interesting. You see, I think that's Nick Boyle raise his hand. He thinks or that's Hurst. He thinks he's got him right there. Yeah, this is spectacular. This is a wonderful tackle play here. Here you see the entire offensive line play acting, dropping their arms, and Lamar keeping opposite and throwing back to Marquise. He gets blown up. He's not pleased about this coming up. He shouldn't be. There's 5 blockers out in front. A lot of mental missteps in this game, I thought, by the offensive line. Certainly not all on Stanley, but he seemed to be at the center of a lot of them one way or another. Notice on this play you see 4 linemen all with their arms at their side, but that is acting. Only one of the linemen is facing the opposite side of the field, square, and that's Stanley. Typically when you release off of a screen, it's going to be in order. For releasing just the 3 interior linemen, it's going to, first man out takes the flat, second man out takes this alley, and third man out is going to clean up the trash backside. Well, if those rules hold up here in this play call, Stanley's going to be on the flat. You see Bozeman go out or bend around him in order to get this defender, who ultimately makes the play. Afterwards, you see just this reaction. Immediately, Bozeman gets up, and I have to believe that's what he's telling Stanley. That was your guy. Now, Stanley reacts very, very quickly. So who's to know? As I said, there were enough mistakes in this game on the offensive line to go around. Some free runners, some protections that weren't called, stuff like this that happened. But as I said, we don't know exactly what happened on this play. I remember going over this in the season. It sure looks, just at first blush like this should have been Stanley's block out wide. And I think this is just a newly installed play, and they're trying to sell it, trying to fake their way through it. And just wasn't effective. This is another mental misstep here. You see Lamar on this keep. You end up losing 8 yards on this thing. And you see a fairly pointed discussion at the end of this, I think, between Stanley and Lamar. So one of two things happened here. The Ravens are running power. Ricard's going to come across the formation and kick out with Bozeman pulling off tackle. And Ronnie's got that same seal block, same kind of stepping into the gap and sealing backside. Either Lamar just took it upon himself to keep here, or Ronnie was not in the loop for whatever reason on the play call, because everybody else is. So one of those two things happened. I have no idea which. Not really. It's nice to see Ronnie go in and kind of take up for his quarterback there, pull guys off. But assuming this is on Lamar, he just kind of takes it upon himself. Although throughout the game, there was a lot of this kind of misdirection and flow happening to one side. So very, very likely, or a very, very, very possible that this is a call. I think probably more likely. But let's say it isn't. Let's say Ronnie's in the right, Lamar's just freelancing, if you will. I still want Ronnie to stay on this block. I still want him attaching himself to this end. Even if they give here and there's a pull or there's a run to the side, I still want Ronnie attaching to the defensive end and driving him. Even if this guy's going to set the edge, which he is, it affords Lamar the opportunity to kind of fold this back inside and at least not lose 8 if Ronnie's got this guy effectively sealed or driven to the sideline. So yeah, just a game full of strange, ineffective play calls, I think, that were really clever. They just didn't, in design, they just didn't work out. It's a great block by Ronnie. He's got to go all the way out and reach this 9-tech defensive end. You see his athleticism on display here and his technique. Got to get out and reach this guy, or that's the plan. Watch him turn, flip his hips here, squeeze this guy inside, right there. Another great, just a great block by him. Here, Ronnie's the tackle over outside of the right tackle. He's got a free release to climb, get on this linebacker. You got two good players here kind of meeting. The middle linebacker gets his hands into Stanley. You see Stanley set his feet. He's going to pick him up. His hands are pretty high here, but he picks him up, moves him, finds the ball carrier. He throws him into the gap a little bit, and then makes the play. So Ronnie not effective here, getting on this block and driving him out of the hole. He's setting his feet here, trying to kind of seal that and hold him off. Be interested what any coaches who watch this channel would say about that, how they would coach their linemen take on this block. you'll note too that even though he's squaring, the linebacker's moving, and that's always the case. Linebacker does a good job really here of moving Stanley into the gap, finding the ball carrier, and almost kind of effectively gapping off of this block. Ronnie has an opportunity to climb again here. The Ravens are running split zone right, and looks to me like he might be a bit paused by this last minute motion by the Bills linebackers. It looks like he's trying to play both these blocks to some extent. In any case, you see him kind of set. The Bills defender, the middle linebacker, gets hands on him first, picks him up, throws him out of the way, meets the ball carrier in the hole.